So much is in the news right now about anti-Asian hate crimes. They're on a rise here in the United States and across the country, especially in the middle of the pandemic. To talk a little bit more, let's bring in Frank Jiang. He is the former president for the Chinese Association of West Michigan. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Can you tell us again more about the association and your mission?
Absolutely, yes. The CAWM, which stands for the Chinese Association of West Michigan, was a nonprofit organization founded in 1979, 42 years ago, to represent and promote the Chinese language, culture, and traditions among the Chinese community and the broader society in the West Michigan region. Currently, there are about hundreds of family members in the organization as of January of this year. And while most of the members are of Chinese descent, we do have more and more members that are of other ethnic backgrounds.
So by trying to talk about your culture and keep your culture alive, I wonder how this is working with generation after generation, because I know my niece, she was adopted from China, but also you have people like who say they want to Americanize their kids and they don't teach them the culture from their native languages or native countries, whether it be Chinese or, Hispanic. And I feel like that's such a huge disservice to their kids. Do you find that in the Chinese area as well?
Yes, I do see your concern. I think there are some people, when they newly immigrate to this country, they are concerned about the kids not being able to assimilated or integrated into the society in terms of language and culture. But I think, personally, I think that's an unnecessary concern because, when they have this new, new reality, new environment, they'll just catch up very, very quickly, much quicker than we think. So I don't think it's a necessary concern.
What's the biggest struggle for some of the people that come from, China and other areas when they come to live in America?
Well, for a lot of the folks that are coming over to this country, depending on the situation, right? Some people are more prepared than others in terms of language, in terms of understanding the culture and the environment. If they are not as well, prepared, they would have a harder time understanding what's going on, spending time learning the language and understanding the way things are done in this country. So it's a matter of process.
Frank Jiang with us here on the MegaCast. He is the former president for the Chinese Association of West Michigan. When I think of West Michigan, diversity is not really something that comes to the top of my mind.
Yeah, well, West Michigan, when we talk about West Michigan in our context, we're talking about the Greater Grand Rapids area, Muskegon, Holland, anything west of really Grand Rapids region.
And with that, is the community becoming more diverse?
Yes, we do have more members from other ethnic backgrounds, as I alluded earlier. So we have, most of them are still of Chinese descent, that's for sure, right? But then we have people from Caucasian background, some other Asian background being part of the organization. It's becoming diverse that way.
Oh, that's great, because I think it really is about a conversation, and the more people we can include in that conversation, in that community, the better we all come out of it. But with that, what's the past year been like for you and the other members of the organization throughout the pandemic?
What a year. I couldn't agree more, right? Like everybody else. Personally, I've been locked down in my home with my children. Came back from California, that's where they are based. From last year until now, working from home, the 4 of us, 5 of us. And while it's very, very hard, for us, it's a blessing in disguise because we're able to spend very much time with them, that we would not otherwise have the opportunity to do, right? Because they are adults, they have their career. But for the most part, it's very, very hard otherwise, right? Because we don't feel safe, and we have to wear masks going anywhere and trying to keep the social distance, just like everybody else. And for the community, of course, we are very aware of the risk of the COVID-19 pandemic, to our health, to the health of the society. So having, experienced, some of us having experienced that in China, and of course, watch our friends and families going through that. So we are very, very keenly aware of the risks involved. So we are very, very careful. So we, first of all, try to be safe, and then while we are being safe, we try to pivot to some online activities, right? Where we have to make some adjustments to the other activities that we have going on during the year.
We'll be so excited when we don't have to use that word pivot. Right?
I know, exactly, right? That's the new catch term, right?
But with that, if I could ask you, and sadly, there is a rise in the anti-Asian hate crimes and racist sentiments throughout COVID-19. And of course, we saw this earlier against Muslims. And how do you react, just as an individual, not even so much the organization, when this happens? How do you counter?
Well, to me, I was very, very greatly disturbed by what I see in this country in the past year, right? I know that racial discrimination is not anything new to this country. However, the level of skyrocketing of the anti-Asian crimes and sentiments are just amazing, right? And very, very sad, to see those Asian people, talking about, ladies of, advanced age, or gentlemen of, advanced age, suffering those kind of like physical, safety, right? It's just very, very concerning to me, just like how the whole organization feel about it too. And for me personally, I've been lucky enough to have not experienced anything of that nature in the past year or before, right? But I know that many other people that have gone through that, have encountered that kind of situation.
And it's sad, and my apologies to everyone in the community that are experiencing that. And one of the things that we try to hope is that through some of these situations and these incidents, it starts the conversation and it improves relationships, because before, a lot of people now, especially now, are afraid to even ask questions or to talk about our differences instead of celebrating our differences. So how do you take these situations and these moments to open up the dialogue with people that are from different backgrounds than you?
I think you're right on when you talk about the conversation and the dialogue. That's exactly what needs to happen, right? We need to talk about how we're different, and then at the same time we need to talk about how we are the same. Basically we're all human beings, right? We all strive forward, work hard, try to get ahead, right? At the same time, we all deserve to be treated with respect and with fairness. And what we have experienced with regard to the anti-Asian crimes, those are those are very concerning, because they are depriving, our human rights, to pursue the American dreams, right? And those needs to stop. And we need to have a conversation. We need to really get along, peacefully, right? And we should celebrate the differences. That's the strength for this country, right? It's not a liability. It's something that we should leverage to make this society a better place for everyone.
I love that you said that. It's a celebration, and it makes us stronger and it makes us better. That is so true. And we're also having these difficult conversations in the middle of a pandemic. But in one way, COVID-19 has taught us that we are all connected, because my breath that I breathe can impact you and the next person, the next person. So in one way, COVID is telling us we are all connected.
Literally, in this case, right?
Right.
Not just figurative, but literally, right? We have to conduct in such a way, because our behavior have direct, ramification to the other people, right? To the society, right? I mean, that's, from that literal situation, I think you can imagine, our words, our behavior in this society, will have and would have far-reaching impact on the bigger society. It's bigger than you, right? So that's how we need to behave as a person, as a community, in this bigger society of the United States.
Tell us a little bit more about some of the work that you've been doing, or that the organization has been doing, the Chinese Association of West Michigan.
We, as part of the big community, that we are in, we try to do our part, right? Mm-hmm. For example, during the COVID-19, we really mobilized our community members to do their part. For example, we raised $30,000 US, and we used our connections, with our families and friends in China, to get the very hard to get PPEs at that time. You're talking about back last year, right? When the PPEs are very hard to get. So we were able to, to buy 13,400 some PPE equipments, and donate those to the first responders. Most of them to the hospitals, the ERs, the emergency centers, and also to the other healthcare practitioners that need them, most, right? So we donated all of them to them. We also organized like what we call the love meals, right? To those ICUs and ERs and other people, right? And we to help uplift the morale of these first responders. We organized like handmade thank you cards from many children in the community, and to lift up the spirit, right? Because everybody is so spread so thin, and so we want to do our part, and that's just what we did like 200 free meals, right, to 4 local hospital ICUs and ERs, so that's just what we did. We also try to take care of ourselves too. For example, from last quarter of 2020, we added a program called health, what do you call that? The mental health program, to address the mental health concerns related to the COVID-19 and those impacting the Asian youth, right? So because like everyone, like being locked down for a year, you likely develop some needs in that regard, and we try to speak to that too. So.
Well, as you said, we're much luckier, and we should celebrate our differences and embrace our differences. So we so appreciate your time. You're listening to 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. Frank Jiang with us here. He is the former president for the Chinese Association of West Michigan. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ronnie. Appreciate your having me.
And we also want to say thank you for all the work and everything that you're doing to help support the community. It is very much appreciated during this time, but let's hope we are on the backside of this pandemic.
I see silver lining in this whole thing now, with the vaccine being, normalized or being, implemented.
Right, and we are stronger when we work together.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.